All right, we're here a little bit late. My mountain getaway gave me some internet issues about 2 minutes before it was take off. What you gonna do? Roll with it, man. Roll with it. Hey, it's good seeing you guys. Figure we talk little Dolphins here. Get going, and of course, Cody can't be here because he's got a softball game. But we'll catch up with him in a couple of weeks. I'm great to see you guys. I miss you guys. I really do. I enjoy this time. I like this so much better than like the camera and everything rolling. You got to get everything right. I could screw up, but it's just part of the show. So it's good seeing you, Dirk the Daring, Mr. Frozen Fin fan, and my guy Abel, who's been supporting me for a while. Give me some good info. I reused your info, Abel, on my last podcast. So I appreciate you guys. Hope everybody's doing well. Terry Lynch, what's going on, man? Stop by. Yeah, listen, if I go down, I'm sorry, man. This internet is trash over here. I'm in the mountains, so enjoy it while you can before it's gone. Thanks, Terry, for stopping by, brother. So we got to talk about. Hey, there's my man, Hooked Up Joe, ready to get the lowdown. Joe, you know what the deal is. Joe says Joe told me he hasn't been paying too much attention the last couple of weeks, so we better give him some lowdown here. We're going to go over all the, like the stories that are going on. There's, I still think there's a lot of stories. Obviously, we got the waiting. Hey, Mrs. Sanchez. Now, you're not late. I was late. I was a minute late, so you're actually on time. You're doing great. Thanks for stopping by, brother. I was talking to Dirk in the background, and he was talking about the secondary with Ramsey. We'll get into the Ramsey, maybe Jair Alexander in a bit. But I want my man Dirk, who is really good. You should be subbing to his channel. Check out his channel. I'm learning how to do this thing. Don't worry about me, man. Go check his stuff out. Don't worry about me. If you can sub to me too as well, why not? What the heck? So break it down for me, brother. Tell me what you're seeing in this secondary, because clearly, the offensive line is going to play out big, but they at least invested in it. And I think this year, going into camp, obviously, offensive line is going to be like 1B, but I really think another unit is 1A this time, and it's going to be the secondary. Give us your lowdown. Tell us what you think, and then Abel and I will give a chime-in chirp here or there.
Everybody, there's a lot of people that are going to disagree that, we
I
haven't given
disagree
enough.
already.
We
You know what you're talking about.
we haven't given enough thought to this cornerback situation. We need to go out and spend some money on so and so 87-year-old retired 1 foot away from retired whoever. We need Jair Alexander. We need this guy. We need that guy. We need this guy that has played 7 games a season for the last 3 years. And I couldn't disagree more. I feel like the way that they've done this by focusing on defensive line and offensive line is more than perfect for what we needed to do this year. And now we're looking at our cornerback room, and it is light. We are missing proven players, but that doesn't mean we don't have quality players. And I'm not saying the guys that we have are the best on the planet. I'm not saying they're starters necessarily, but what I am hoping to see is a couple of these guys take the next step. We have a couple interesting ones on this team that are looking really well, really good. Ifeatu Melifonwu has looked really, really good so far in preseason in off-season activities and in training camps and whatever else they're doing right now. Uh, Storm Duck has looked increasingly well, and he was doing this, all last season. He's not the greatest, but every time the kid plays, he does better, and I'm impressed by him. I just hope that he can keep making those steps forward. You look at Cater Kohu. Darth Cater played magnificent football the last 7 or 8 games of the season last year. And if he can just continue doing that, basically what I'm hoping for is for the cornerbacks on this team to continue doing, and safeties to continue doing what they've been doing. We have a lot of interesting players. Ashton Davis he's probably the largest, most muscular, strongest safety I've seen on this team in a long time. The guy has got beef, and I'm really impressed with a lot of the guys that I'm seeing. Are they all proven starters? No, but they have interesting chances to do something good this year. So I mean, And like you said, Curtis, about the fact that they're not going to have to cover receivers for 10, 8 seconds. It's if our line plays the way they're supposed to on defense, I think we're going to be okay. Um, I know a lot of people aren't going to agree with that, but that's kind of where I'm looking right now.
Well, I think, I mean, from my standpoint, it depends on how you're going to play it. It depends, so much depends because are you're going to be playing a lot of man? If you play a lot of man, then you need top end covers corners. But if you're playing high leverage, playing over zone, and you're like you're zone blitzing it, you bring in the blitz, but not sacrificing from your secondary. There's ways to hide it. And if you look at if you look, I think if you parallel how teams played our offense and we run that same thing where, hey, look, we're going to go light. We're going to make sure that you don't get any big scores. We're going to keep it in front of us. Let's matriculate it down. We can either get you off schedule in third down, or we can get a pick, or you can make a penalty. Let's get into the red zone. In the red zone, the speed isn't as critical. Your front is more critical. And if you can hold them to 3, and this offense does what's supposed to, is put lots of points on, then there's a way around it. Ultimately, though, if you're just like us, you can get exposed against the better teams. But I don't see us being a team that's going for the Super Bowl. We're trying to look coherent. And so there are ways around it. But you can't have too many injuries. You're going to have to get that pressure. You're going to have to control that run. And you're going to have to call smart. He's going to have to call some blitzing. And so the when, where, the tactical nature of Weaver is going to come out, and it's going to be important, So, we'll go over the players that we got, and we can kind of break it down a little bit. And then we'll talk about Jair and Ramsey. But what do you think, Abel? I'll get the comments after that.
First off, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
What? Yeah.
Okay, cool. Technical stuff. So, I mean, I guess I just want to start off by saying, we're not one of, like we're saying, those top teams, Eagles, Chiefs, Ravens, Bills, whatever. Now, with a team like ours, there's always going to be somewhere where something's lost. Where it looks like this year, right? It's that cornerback area, the safety area, where hey, it didn't get improved. But I kind of got on a little spat with a guy from a Dolphins talk in the comments like last week, where
really, I thought everybody was kumbaya in the Dolphins land. That's surprising, man. It's so surprising.
Well, they were coming after Mike. If anyone watches Dolphins talk, I mean, I think that's a really good show. With Mike.
Yeah, I like Mike. There. I like Mike.
Because he was putting out videos from guys that are outside of Miami, or like the guy just pretty much just saying, hey, anyone that's outside of creators or anyone that's not in Miami, you guys don't know what you're talking about and stuff like that. And it's like, we understand what you're saying, Brad, but look at what's on the field. I mean, I don't want to come in here and be a negative Nancy or anything. And I mean, to his point, the one who I was arguing with, it's that we really don't know with this regime, with this regime, what's going to happen.
Great.
We're going back, and I know this is our show too, but it's just what I'm tied into right now with basketball, with my team being OKC, and I've always brought this up where hey, look at what they did with their players as far as like putting attention to detail and putting the right people in the building, coaches, players, trusting the system, and that's what we're doing this year. That's what we have to do. It's not so much as a drop to like, okay, well, let's sell off all the assets, and that's going to look how it looks like to everyone. But I mean, we really need to see, hey, well, what do we have? What pieces do we have that we can build on for the future? Is Patrick Paul going to be, the starting left tackle for the future? Is Jonah going to be, hey, that guard that we could put on the left or right? And I know, sorry, I didn't mean to switch to the offense, but
no, switch, go.
with the cornerback too, and safeties, is Metu Falafano, is he going to be a guy that hey, maybe we can keep around here, and have you? But it's a weird thing right now where they're saying that it's not a rebuild, and
They're lying.
Well, I mean, we need to figure out what we have, and just go from there.
Yeah, well, it is. You got to be fair. You got to me, that's what it's all about: being trying to be honest, fair, and then you try to be accurate. This whole thing, really, when you think about it, is a parable wrapped up in an enigma. I mean, there's so many things, so many possibilities. Just the injury bug alone, how it hits, how hard it hits, where it hits, that's going to determine so much. So really everybody's evaluation has some veracity. You gotta let it play out. I mean, clearly there are things that we've got to focus on. But I think anything can play out, man. I really do. Like Terry Lynch says, we're doing what the Eagles are doing. The pressure up front will be improved, and the quarterbacks will have to throw in a hurry. That's the plan. Does the plan play out? We've got to see, but that's the plan. And clearly that's what they're doing. We're not on the Eagles level. And
Bar in the house.
I got them. Let me catch up some of these comments. I'm starting to agree with the current mindset, reset the standard pay. We've got to reset. Greer screwed it all up. He invested too much money on people of low character, high talent, some old, both old, really. Some guys with injury history. The cap is not going to be reset to 27. So I just still think that's where we're aiming at. So I totally agree. Used to be the opposite, corners and cover. Yeah, exactly. So, I understand the concept. It's just, we got to see how it plays out. There should be a breakup clause. It should be, it should be a lot. So it's not over the Van Ginkel loss. I miss Van Ginkel, I'll tell you that. Hey, Bobby, my man Bobby. Bobby is a class act, great guy. Check out the dive bar. You probably are already. You don't need little me to tell you that. Oh, I thought you froze there, Dirk. You made me think the internet went out.
I hate when I do that.
Oh, man. You imitating us.
Just testing you.
Screwed me up, dude. Bobby, Bobby, I'm sorry, man. The big guy came in the house and he screwed up my. Thanks, Dirk, man. What are you trying to say? My dive bar. Bobby, it's great. Thanks for stopping by, brother. Your show's class, and I hate to say it, but you're even more class. Great guy. So thanks for stopping by. But the whole thing is we're resetting everything from a philosophy stand, from a conceptual standpoint. Most likely, there's so much going on, and you've got every year. No matter how much I hate Greer, and if you don't know, I really do hate the guy. I reset my evaluation. No, I know. Like fighting among Finn fans. It's like, holy cow, baby. But I reset because people can change, luck can change, things can change. You might miss something, and it's no sense to look like a jackass. I do it normally. So I always reset my evaluations. That's what I'm doing here. Look, we made it through a non-mandatory camp, no major injuries. Hallelujah. We'll go to mandatory. Let's hope there's no injuries there. Hallelujah. And then it's hallelujah, hopeful on through, and we'll see. Training camp's going to tell us a lot. Preseason games will tell us more. And then we'll have a decent handle going into week one. Anything can happen. Likelihood, we'll see. They can generate because they got the talent. They got guys who can drop. Even Grant, the guy is gigantic, but he's got the ability and the agility to pull twists and stunts and not be left behind. And actually, it's more conducive for him. He's not a power guy. He's not a bull rusher. So that stuff does flow into our wheelhouse more. And you got Chop, and you got Phillips when he eventually comes, Chubb, Sealer can do all kinds of stuff. So there's just a lot of stuff to see, man, and just play it out. I mean,
I'm hearing Zeke Biggers is looking amazing right now.
Impressed
with him.
Yeah, it's flag football now. It's it's good. I'm never gonna knock a good story, but I'm not gonna write a whole thing on it. I think all Dolphins should buy Van Ginkel. Yeah. That was so stupid. I don't know what that guy was thinking. But, it's the past. You're going to pretend like it's the past and move on.
Got one floating around here somewhere. I don't know where it is.
I love Van Ginkel. But it's destiny. He is the mascot of the Vikings. So you're just a man, but you're a cool man, Bobby. A real man, normal man. Will improve line. I say let Weaver coach up the young. Yeah, you've got to. You can't. This was a rebuild. There was no way to man all stations adequately. There's just none, especially with Ramsey on the fly. So, you can only, it's not Madden football, they're not trading you 7 first-round picks for Eichenberg. So you've got to just play this thing out. 27's the year for me. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. But to me, that's where they're aiming at. And we've got to let's see, how it flows to that direction. Greer is that old piece of underwear that somehow stays clean up. yeah. I don't know. I think if things go south this year, it will be a blame it on McDaniel with an offloading on Tua, and Greer will be back. I want to believe Al from 2 yards per carry. I think a guy who knows a lot. But he kind of feels like Greer's on his way out. I just feel it's hopium. I bought into it and I'm hoping, but something seems weird, But to me, those 2 conferences were so off the rails. Keep my shorts clean and not talk about Greer too much. Just imagine our pass rush. It could be. It really could be. Let's not forget that there are holes to fill, and it seems Greer won't get out. No, he's nobody. I don't think anybody could. There's nobody. Be honest. Cam Smith is so cooked. I would say rebuild. Because you figure next year you're getting rid of Hill. You're looking to get rid of Chubb. You're looking to get rid of Ramsey. Tehran's gone. Those are your biggest players, practically, besides if you want to say Tua or something. And you got the second flank of Waddle. But if you go over the cap and look at the roster, there's lots of guys on there that likely won't be here next year. And so you're going to have to fill that out. Sealer's going to be a little bit older. Brooks is going to be looking for a big contract soon. So I think it's a rebuild. I think it's just a play on words. You could say reset. I guess you're not stripping down like 2019. So,
I like to throw soft in there before I say rebuild, but that's where I'm at.
Don't say soft with this team, dude. That'll work, man. That'll work. Yeah. Yeah, do swell. 25 people watching, only 6 likes. Yeah, come on, hit the like button, please. That helps us out. It's my fault. I said I wasn't doing this thing for a couple of months, and then I just popped it off. I don't know. I got lonely. I wanted to see you guys, but yeah, if you can hit the like button, all that fun stuff. But definitely hit the like button and go sub to my man over here, Frozen Fin fan. He's awesome. So look, before we get into the roster, I say no on Jari Alexander. I think I mean, come on, how many? 50% of his games over 66 games. What is that? Like 4 years or something? We don't need that. It's like we got no luck for that, man. Hard pass. What about you, Abel? Hard pass?
I mean, we have Greer's luck, and what he's gonna do. I'd say, yeah. Me personally, right now, just looking at the roster, it wouldn't hurt, but they haven't spent money all off season. Why would they do it now? What? Greer, he'll do it.
Maybe he learned. Who's Ben Still? I don't know who he is.
Isn't he a defensive tackle? I thought he played with the Dolphins a little bit on practice squad and stuff before. He's just a camp body.
Oh, okay. All right.
There's
a good one. Oh, Steve, I forgot to give you the shout. Guys, go check. Oh, man. What? Sanchez, what are you, insane? I got to get to you in a second. Steve, I'm sorry. Somebody gave me a giant thing over here, Steve. I'll be right back with you. What? Are you high? What are you doing at spending your good money like that, man? I appreciate it. Thank you, man. That's a super, super sweet, dude. That's like the mega send, man. I'm going to send my kids to college. Like, that's so nice, bro. I appreciate that. You got to say something, though, man. You got to put a cause, say something, make Dirk, do something stupid or something, or me or whatever. $50, dude. Man, I appreciate that. That is so kind. I really, really appreciate it. Come on, man. You got to give me something. Why don't you send me something? Why don't you give me something here? I'll do a podcast on it. Send me something. I'll do a podcast on that, brother. Put it in the thing, man. I feel I've got to do something for that, man. I feel like that's great, man. That's so. I feel I don't know what to do now. Got to drop the mic. But let me, I was like, think of something, because seriously, put something in there if you want me to do a special podcast, and I'll study it out and I'll do it for you, man. That's real kind, really, real kind. Steve is my man. I wanted to say thanks for Steve for coming by. Steve is as awesome as Bobby, just older. But those guys are really in my Hall of Fame of some great people. You should check out Steve's channel. Steve was the first guy in the whole community to have me on. Steve is great. But I would say, back to this one, Steve, I guess technically if we got rid of the quarterback, it would be a rebuild, but it's still, to me, it's still a rebuild anyway. I think technically speaking, but I would say just given what we've got here and all the holes and the cap troubles for the next 2 years, and we're not going to be free to 27, offloading all this top talent. For me, it's a rebuild. I think technically you're right. But what the hell? I don't pay attention to technicalities. Sanchez, man, what the hell are you doing? That's so nice, man. I appreciate that. Put something down there, man. Come on, man. Send me something. I've got to earn my money. Let's see. Does anybody else find this franchise? No. Not until we start acting normal and not doing stupid stuff. Dude, yes. Sweet donation, man. I'm like sweating. I feel like, I feel great, but thank you, man. Seriously, you got to put something down there. You can't come back on and give me something to do for that thing. Put anything in there. Get something on. Yeah, you got to have an idea, something you want me to research. I'll do it this week. I'll have it done by the end of the week, and I'll put your little thing up there.
Steve wants you to research push-ups.
Oh, I need to. I'd start doing push-ups again this week. I haven't been working out. I need to start. I'm getting skinny, man. I'm down to I think 190 pounds. My wife's saying I'm looking Ethiopian. With the future potential, I am, dude. It's terrible. I've never been this small in my life. I feel like I'm wasting away. With the potential regime change, Greer out. Oh man, that's a hopeful, man. I don't know. Should Dolphins be acquiring assets? Yeah, they should. That's what I would do. But we're totally insane. So who knows? Who can replace Mike McDaniel? And now Gruden's done. I don't think he's ever come back to this league. Oh, I could do 50 push-ups. I did 50 I did 60 2 days ago. That's easy. I probably could get 80. I probably could get 80, but then I'd be done for the rest of the day. There'd be no further podcast. I used to get 110 when I was in high school. I was like about 170 pounds. But not now. Then I got fat. Oh, wait, what's going on here, man? What are you guys trying to get me to retire, man? Deuce, what's going on? Thank you, man. I appreciate that, dude. Come on, guys, give me a question with that. You put the $10 up. You're supposed to attach a question, something special, make me earn it. I appreciate that, guys. I really do. That's the one thing that keeps it going. This craziness is you guys, and that's real nice. But please, I'm not being jokish. I really want to just put anything out there. I'll research it.
I'm gonna donate $10 and request that you shave your head.
That's easy, man. That's easy. Check me out. What's up, Ace? Don't forget to remind everyone to like and subscribe. Please like and subscribe. That's how it goes. I'm trying to do the thing. I always just feel sing off fight song. I don't know the fight song. I'll memorize it if you want, but I'm not sure if you want to hear me sing it. That's not one of my strong points. But if you want, that's what I'll do. 110 is not. Oh yeah, we have no singer. Oh please. I embarrass myself enough up here. So. But thank you, Deuce. Thank you, Sanchez. I appreciate that. But please again, give me something to do. Become a member. It's fun. And I got to start doing a member podcast, though. I got to catch up with that. Anyway, so Ramsey. I think that the best bet we have for Ramsey, are you watching the Stanley Cup finals? I didn't even know they were on. Oh, yeah, Warren Sharp. Yep. Yeah, he did a great job today. Pulling the numbers together, but it's somebody's not. He did a great job, but it's like some people just don't care about that. It's not about truth. Stanley Cup's on today. I didn't even know that. That's probably not a smart move to put this thing on at that time. But anyway, Ramsey. I think the more I think about it, I think draft capital is probably going to get us less return than if we trade for a player. I think that there's more opportunity to get a player that, maybe is not that first tier player who's coming up to free agency soon. And that team doesn't want to play. They might be overloaded in that particular position group. And I think that could actually end up being better for us because Greer has proven in the past to be a better evaluator of, well, quote unquote, sort of current talent that's been in the NFL rather than extrapolating from college to the pros. So what say you?
I got to agree. I don't think we're going to get much draft wise.
What are you thinking exactly, though?
If we did get draft picks,
Yeah,
maybe a fifth. That's what we might get. I don't really see us getting
maybe conditional ties to it.
Maybe, yeah, conditional fifth or something that could turn into a fourth. But I don't really see much more than that coming for him. I mean, he's 30 years old, and
31.
And he did play well last year, but he's definitely, on the back end of going down for his career. I'm not saying he's bad by any stretch, so don't
No.
But I don't think that he's at a point in his career where he's going to be improving, and I don't think that teams are going to want to pay much for him, especially if we've got to give money.
I think we eat a lot, though. We might be able to get something.
I think it's just a little stretch, but
yeah, I don't think so. I was thinking like a fifth conditional, or maybe that can turn into a fourth, or if he plays exceptionally well, maybe a really, because if you get a really good team, or the team might have a conditional draft compensation, so it might be like the outside the third round or something like that. You maybe can get the what is it called, the compensatory pick. Yeah. Oh, anyway, listen, Sanchez and Deuce, here's my email. If you think of something you want me to do, because sometimes it's hard on the spot, just send me email and I'll definitely cover something for you guys. What do you think, Abel?
I mean, yeah, I've been hearing. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've been hearing just kind of saying to like a fourth, fifth now, but I mean, going back here to Waltz and Sanchez's kind of questions, it's Sanchez saying, hey, well, who can replace Mike McDaniel? Should we get John Gruden here? And then Walt too, he said,
I like Gruden. He'd have to have the right. He'd have to have the right GM though.
Then with Walt, how he said, hey, regime change. So, I mean, it's just there's a lot of like spinning plates here with I guess how they're trying to do the team building activities. That's what Mike's trying to do with everyone. Where hey, we're trying to establish that culture, but are we establishing the culture because Mike's going to stay? Are we not doing buying stuff because Ross told Greer no, or is the other guys that are in the building, are they were leading the show now? So it's it's a very interesting it's been an interesting offseason for us as far as hey how is this now season going to play out, and then what's what's going to happen moving forward. So I think it's they brought up really good points where there's so many changes, and hey, but is in the end, is this going to be now the right path that we're going on heading forward? Just I guess I'll ask you guys a question. I mean, not to get ahead or anything, Curtis, but with what's happening with John, do you think he's going to hold out from mandatory minicamp, or what do you guys think?
I think he'll be there. And I don't think he's going to hold out. I'm not sure though. I mean, I'm not a mind reader, but I would be willing to bet that at least he's gonna be there. He might sit out 7-on-7s or something like that, but I think he'll participate some way.
It'll be interesting to see what Sealer does.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is what about Sealer? I just don't know. I don't know how serious he is. He does have 2 years left on his contract.
Yeah.
It's
but he played for. I can't believe he played for the money he played for.
Peanuts. Yeah.
Peanuts. Total peanuts.
It's a very, very weird situation with. I mean, definitely with Sealer, but with that, where last year we gave all these money, all these guys that we want to get rid of and want to leave, and now kind of for the guys that have done good or kept, like they're kind of, well, what about us now? And it's Well, we're not doing that.
That's what Hunt and Wilkins said.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's freaking crazy. But
that's what happens when you spend foolishly, and that's what we did for a long time. Elwood Hogg has a really good comment here. Weaver almost got the NOLA job, HC job with last year's team. Watch him with a great pass. Weaver make lemonade. But here's the thing. What if he has a great season on defense, but we're losing? Does it put pressure on the Miami brass to fire McDaniel and replace him with Weaver in fear of losing Weaver to a head coaching job next year? Is there any pressure? I'm not saying there is or not. I just thought about it. But if you're losing, you're not going to the playoffs, and you kind of feel like the team's leaving McDaniel, and Weaver's doing a good job, and he's done a good job with, pretty not great squads for 2 seasons. He could get a head coach job, and then you're out and got to go fish again. So it might put pressure on him to fire McDaniel, say maybe at tail end of the season, things not going well, or just to basically say, hey, we're going to let him go. We're going to keep you. I think that's going to be something interesting too. Because a lot of people say McDaniel's not going to make the season, end of the season. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I don't know either, but I do think that having somebody like Anthony Weaver sitting there as our defensive coordinator and pretty much, the guy that's going to end up with a job if something does happen to McDaniel, I'm not really against that in any way. I mean, we do have a couple guys on the offensive staff that could take over offensive coordinator.
Couple of guys. We got a whole army.
Yeah. I mean, so this is the situation for switching to a defensive head coach might not be the worst thing in the world if it comes to that. Me personally, I'm not quite to the point where I'm like, fire McDaniel. I'm not quite there yet. I know a lot of people are, so I mean,
I'm not there yet either, but I'm close. I'm
Yeah,
close.
Getting there, yeah.
The door, I hear something knocking, man. It might be that, but I don't know. We'll see. Hey, Abel, you got a good comment over here. Deuce Walt, man. Good take from Abel. Let's not put the cart before the horse.
That's the only take Abel has.
That's right. That's right. Gruden, he has a hots for Ewers. I didn't know that. There you go.
Yeah, Gruden loves him.
Yeah, we have no idea he'll be a locker room leader. We don't. Holding out for mandatory training camp when being for extra money is wild. What are the fines? I don't know. I'm not sure.
I think it's like $106,000 over the course of like 3 days.
Oh, chump change. You can afford that. I can afford that. What is that? That's nothing, man. I pull that out of my.
Gradually increases.
Yeah.
Not much though.
No. Yeah. Coast and No Show. What's going on, man? How you doing, brother?
If they miss that first day, it's like nothing. I mean, we're talking I think $10,000 the first day or something.
No, that's nothing. I don't worry about it. I don't got my glasses, Sanchez. I half the time I can't see that far, so don't sweat it. If Michael gets fired, I don't know. I don't think he's ever coming back to the league. I don't know all that stuff that went on and all this other stuff, but it just seems like as long as what's his face, who's the head of the league? What's that idiot's name again? I forgot his name right now.
Okay, I have it.
What's his name? The blonde swarmy guy.
Oh.
They don't get along with he doesn't get along with Gruden. That'll never happen. Gruden's done. He's doing YouTube. He's doing YouTube now. J Rose, they should sign Seal to need. Oh yeah. But they like screwing people over and getting deals and saying, oh yeah, Roger Goodell. That's right, Goodell, the Swami guy with the hair. Maybe I'm just jealous because he's got the nice hair. I don't know. I'm holding out for camp until this stream gets more likes. Yeah, there you go, brother. I don't know. It's all right. I got to get my game on. I got to start pumping that stuff more. I'm trying to do the Twitter thing. But yeah, hit the likes and subscribes. So I want to go over the roster, the secondary, and kind of break it down quick. That's how we'll close it out. I didn't want to go on too long. I just wanted to see you guys, the viewers and everything. I enjoy this, especially when I get.
Hey, I found it. For missing the first day of minicamp, you get fined $17,452. For second day, you get fined $34,000, and the third day, it's like right around $60,000.
So it's $100,000 total. That's nothing for these guys.
$100,000.
And if they sign a new contract, they'll probably get retro reduced or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, Seal deserves. Yeah, Joe. Seal deserves every penny more. I couldn't believe he played for $12 million. $12 million. That is chump change, dude. That guy. That's a guy who definitely deserves it.
Yeah, definitely.
They shouldn't even make it a problem, like for him. They should, But then I don't know. If Greer's running the show, he'll screw everybody over. He doesn't care. So look, let's go over to the safety groups a little bit more curious. Now, Melifonwu, probably saying it all butchered, he can play, but the guy's been injured past 2 seasons. And so that's a wild card there. But he can play 6'3". I love that 6'3", 210. Yeah. Elijah Campbell, he's been around for a while, but I'm not putting heavy stock on him. Ashton Davis, 6'1", 201. He hasn't ever played more than about 350 snaps. That will be interesting. If they find, gold with him, that's going to be a big, big deal. I'd be interested to see how many snaps. I'm very interested to see how many snaps he gets. Then you got Patrick McMorris. I'm not going to ride that too high. Colbert, I'm not going to ride that too. Saunders. But then you got Dante Trader. Now, Dante Trader's a rookie. And
yeah, but he's interesting.
Yeah, and Jason Sawney was huge on him. I'm not saying, whatever. He said he's a lacrosse player, real smart guy. That can go either way. You could be real smart and then it's too slow. We'll see. But you spent a solid pick on him, so he's going to definitely get a shot. So it's really, to me, it's going to be Melifonwu. I got to get that guy's name too. Davis and Trader. Those are going to probably be your prime guys. At least they should be. We'll have to see, but that's a possibility, but it's a little sketchy. But safeties, if you play them high and you put them in certain positions that accentuate their skill sets, you can kind of, make it work. You're just not going to have a 3-tool, safety group or, group that you're going to be able to bring up and play man. At least I don't think. I don't know how Ashton Davis plays, but I don't know if he could do that. So, you play your high cover 2s, cover 3s, and maybe bring Melifonwu in a box to be like that linebacker safety to control line of scrimmage. And then you drop the rest of you guys. We were on weekly. We usually are. I shut it down for a couple of weeks because I just don't want to say the same old thing every week.
The thing about Ashton Davis and Trader Jr., those are the ones that interest me a lot. I mean, I feel like if he's going to be okay. But Trader Jr., it's encouraging to me just because of the fact that guy does not miss tackles. And after having Jordan Poyer for the time that we did, I'm drooling thinking about a safety that likes to hit and likes to make tackles likes to hit the other team.
Yeah. Poyer liked to hit Phillips there.
Yeah. So I'm excited about Trader Jr. and I want to see him play in preseason a little bit and see how he does.
I agree. That's a great point of the tackling. We missed a lot of tackles, and our safeties have not been tough in a long time. So that'll be nice. It'll be very interesting. That's a possibility. But here, Elwood brings this up. Marshall. A lot of people rave about Marshall. He seems to look like he's doing pretty good in camp. So we'll go over the corners. Kato Kohu, he's been up and down. 22, he was very good. And then he disappeared until halfway through last season. We'll see. But I like the kid. When he's on, he's on. Jason Maitrier, I'm not big on. Artie Burns, he's a retread. He hasn't played lots of snaps. Ramsey's going to be gone. Marshall Jr. is going to have to be a guy of some level. Because Cam Smith, he's cooked. BJ Adams, Ethan Robinson, Keldon Sherfield, I'm not big on. Then you got the Bonner, Storm Duck. And, I'd love to see Isaiah Johnson, 6'3", 205, but he hasn't shown anything, so it's hard to say. So, you pull Ramsey off here. You got Kato Kohu, who's the guy you can most depend on. You've invested in Marshall, and, what El was saying, he covered the best receivers in the SEC. So what's the deal with that? And people are saying they didn't like it because he didn't get enough picks. But if you're getting breakups, I'll take that. That's okay. Mm-hmm. If you're solid like that, I mean, that's And then, I don't know, Bonner sitting all last season was a shock because they were raving him. And so really if you look at it, Storm Duck, Marshall, Kohu, and Burns because of his veteran status. And the rest of the guys are wild cards. I mean, some of these guys are wild cards too, but it is a pretty thin group. And again, if Weaver can pull this thing together, then it's going to show he's pretty amazing. Yeah, we don't say that name around here. Oh, I can't believe that. So I don't know. What do you think, Abel?
We haven't even talked about our, star quarters, Cam. you didn't mention him and all those guys, but
who do you thinking of those guys that are most likely to start?
Right,
you got your nickel and your two boundaries. Cater's best at nickel, so we would assume they're going to keep him there unless, I don't know. I wouldn't assume they would move him out. But, what would you think?
I mean, I really, I haven't really dealt right now. I'm really looking at the highlights of the safety or Dante Trader, and I mean, what Dirk was just saying looks like he flies to to make the tackles, which is great. Because I mean, we're always having problems tackling with with wrapping up and stuff. But I mean, let's see. We know that Cater's is that nickel one, and hey, can Storm Duck take that next bound jump up, or hey, maybe if Bonner too, he flashed real good last preseason, didn't play that much last this one, but maybe him. But yeah, let's see how camps go. Who do you think, Dirk? I see you.
Yeah, he posted it, man. He posted it right here. Look at him.
Yeah, I really think Marshall's going to end up. I mean, this is just thoughts, and it's early, so don't get at me too much. But if I had to gun to my head, if I had to say who it's going to be, I think it's going to be Cater and Storm Duck on the outside, and I think they're going to put Marshall Jr. or they're going to put what's his name? We picked him up.
Oh, Burns.
Burns. I think it's going to be Burns or Marshall Jr. in the slot, or in the nickel. But we'll see. That's kind of what I'm thinking right now.
I think that's where I'm leaning too. Reminds me of 07 Dolphins secondary. Oh no.
Please no.
Oh no. Who will win the camp battle for Holland's old spot? I think Ashton Davis. I think Melifanu is going to play the box guy.
Yeah.
6'3", 210. I think he's got to. So if you lay it out that way, it'll be Ashton Davis, Melifanu, Trader as filling in somewhere through that, developing, and then most likely Duck on a boundary, Marshall on a boundary, and Cater in the nickel. And that would be then you would have you'd have Brooks, Dotson at linebacker. You're going to have Grant and Sealer and Chubb and Chop. And then you might get
Phillips
different. Yeah, and then maybe a nose tackle type thing. And then Phillips when he gets healthy, the yellow for Jalen Phillips coming in there. So, I mean, it's going to be very interesting. The thing is, I did a podcast, I think it was yesterday, about the effect of the offensive line and success into the postseason. And if you looked, it was like the Jets were like 23rd for their offensive line metrics, or 26th. I think the Patriots were like 30th or 29th, and we were 32nd. Yeah. And so there's so many races going on with these teams, battles for position groups. So
but what about all those streamers that are saying our offensive line was pretty decent? It wasn't that bad, but Curtis,
dude,
offensive line was good, bro.
I even went to the AI, dude. Look, I don't know if you saw it, but I even went to the AI. I look. I'm gonna find the quote.
I commented and said Skynet agrees with us.
Oh yeah. I just got to read it again. So AI, like I'm starting to learn how to use it, right? And so you can basically take information and you put the information in, but I'm not going to give my secrets. I'm not going to go to rest of the secrets because other people aren't using it yet the right way. So you can put the information in, and there's things you do that I've learned. Maybe other people do, and I don't know, but I don't want to pass off my secrets because there's a lot of people who aren't my best buddies in this little business here. And then you basically, it takes all that information and the little things you do on the side, and it creates an evaluation, a hard-coded evaluation. And I did with basically all the major metrics. I'm going to do it again with more metrics, and then I'm going to do it again and compare Tua's framework to the top 10 quarterbacks from last year. And that, I mean, I don't know. I should have done it already. But so this is what the AI Terminator said. Despite, and maybe you guys saw some sort of podcast, but despite Tua's notable reduction in time to throw from 2.32 to 2.04 seconds, which should theoretically have helped reduce pressure and sacks, the pressure percentage remained fairly high due to inefficiencies in pass protection. This is a stupid computer. Even with a decreased blitz rate, his offensive line continued to allow a lot of non-blitz pressure, which led to increased sacks in 23 and continued pressures in 24. This data suggests that while Tua's quick release was an attempt to counteract pressure, protection issues persisted, causing him to still face high levels of pressure, resulting in increased sacks despite the faster ball release. I hope this analysis helps clarify the relationship. I mean, that's a stupid computer. Like, you know, it's not here to, hasn't have any agenda. And so that's the problem I find with this whole thing. It's, and I didn't want to like get into it. I was going to get into it, but it's high school. It's a bunch of people, you know, trying to gate out certain people, gate out other people, bring people in. It's just a huge high school. And then for the most part, you know, a lot of these people, there's a lot of great people, you know, and I meet with them and I'm meeting some more of them that are really just trying to get to the truth. But it's really about this thing that's other than journalism and getting to the truth. It's about getting clicks. And unfortunately, a lot of people, you know, the people that come to my channel for the most part, they want to know the truth. They're trying to use numbers. They're trying to use film and try to see what, but that's not the biggest piece of this puzzle. And it just doesn't make any sense. There's so much data that shows this offensive line was trashito and it was substandard and it was a deleterious effect on Tua that you really just got to, you know, I lose respect for some people that I had respect for because I understood how it was obfuscated with the fog of war of all that. But at this stage, it really is beyond the pale to say these things. It's almost crazy. It's ridiculous. It really is. And, you know, so I don't know, whatever. That's my spiel for that thing. It will always depend the hell on the offensive line with the Keystones. Yeah, I've been saying for years, the offensive line makes the NFL world go round. It's basic. Like I hear people say that, you know, the running back, I'll get to that in a second. The running, listen, all you got to do is take a Madden game and take the worst offensive line you got, put it on all Madden and try to run a damn football, throw the football. And you're like, what the hell? Then you take the stupid game and you put it on like Madden and get yourself a best offensive line. You're like, oh, wow, this is a breeze. It's so easy. The skills, their table is set. And the difficulty level set by the offensive line. Football is about consistency. Offense is about consistency. And the blocking sets the consistency and the difficulty level. Great skills can overcome for a period of time, but the inconsistent nature of passing and running the football eventually comes back to haunt you, especially if it's bad weather or you're facing a very good team. So there's just inconsistency. But the offensive line sets that table. Anything other than that is somebody who knows zero about football. I hate to say that, but after all these years, I have no choice but to say that. Anyway, that's it. Hey, what do you guys got to say?
Are we talking about the?
I don't know what I'm talking about. I just went on a rant. You set me off over there. Like how people look, I can understand you saying Tua is not the guy. Okay. Tua, he gets a little, moist in big moments. Okay. Tua can't stay healthy. Okay. Tua is not the elite of the elite. He's not a Burrow or Allen. I get that. But for you to say that he sucks is dementia. Like it just doesn't make sense because he's at least average. I mean, like if you're saying he's average, okay, I can kind of all right, at least you're in a realm. But this offensive line was terrible, and all the metrics prove it. You could grab one, but it's just unconscionable at a certain point. It really is. And it's not to say I don't know if I want to, but I got to be honest with what's going on because. If we buy into this, we'll get the next quarterback, and then Greer will do the same thing. And it's the same. Look at Tannehill. Tannehill's a bum, and he went over to the Titans, and he went to the conference championship, went to the playoffs practically every year. Same quarterback who sucked, and he went to the right build, and he won. So anyway, I don't know. Where are we at?
I find it interesting. There was this question here. It says, what steps do you see this offense making to get back to 2023? And I'm assuming they're talking a little bit about when they say get back to 2023, they mean back to having a, potent offense. And I may be referencing getting back to some of the longer pass plays. I think part of that is what we're doing is going to directly affect that. The ability to get linebackers and safeties back into the box against our offense would be a huge start. Because right now they just know that they're going to be able to get pressure with their base packages. And then we have 7 people in coverage or 8 people in coverage at times. And that's not really conducive to throwing the ball down the field. So you see these things we're doing. We're trying to improve the offensive line. We're adding a tight end that can actually block. We're adding these things that are going to help us with that. We have a new Westbrook Akine is going to definitely help. Like you said, Abel, when he is going to be on the field, I desperately hope that this means they're going to rotate Waddle and Hill into the slot position more. And I really feel like that's going to help a lot as well, creating a little bit of space for Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle to get off the line and maybe get a few steps deeper. I just the Dolphins are doing what they need to do to give us a better chance to do that, even with adding better goal line style players. Madison and Big O and all these guys that are coming in. I think it's going to give us a better chance to get back to a little more of a holy crap, what are they going to do next type of offense. So.
Yeah. I want to answer this one. So, why does the team run more RPO? Because run pass option. Nobody's buying the run. So it doesn't. So there's ways, there's keys. If you want to very quickly assess how your team's doing, don't look at your team. Look at how the defense is playing you on a consistent basis. So you start at the linebackers. The linebackers tie everything together. And the linebackers, they have multifaceted roles, but their job is critical. So whatever you see them doing, soon as the ball snapped on a consistent basis, whether they're reading and reacting, dropping, stepping up, blitzing, that's going to tell you what the defensive coordinator is thinking. In many ways, going to tell you what they're thinking about how his defensive front is handling that offensive line. It's going to tell you what he is keying in on. If you see them taking steps up, that means they're concerned, or the DC is concerned. If you see them blitzing, run blitzing, that means the DC is concerned. If you see them read and reacting, that means they're kind of, on a consistent basis. That means, you know what, I'm pausing, but I'm not really too hot and heavy on what you can do in the run game. And if you see them dropping instantly, that means they have total disregard for your run game and they're selling out for the pass. And if you marry that little bit with the leverage that they're playing. So when you see prior to the snap, where is that Mike? How deep is he? How is, we don't play with 3 linebackers anymore, but 2 linebackers. How deep is that Sam or Will? And that will also tell you. So when you're watching all that, those are tells. And if you watch the Dolphins, the tells are ridiculous. I've been meaning to do the video from the Broncos game all at the end of last year. And it's the same. We had a big game against the Broncos because they had the guys pinched inside. They were playing us honest. They were blitzing, stepping up, and we just crunched them. But then quickly after that game, they elongated the edge players. They abandoned the A and B gaps. The linebackers went straight to read and react or drop. They started blitzing us far less. They played high over coverage leverage, and there was really very little variation. I think that was the Charger game, was the beginning of 23 season. There was very little variations. Now, situationally, it was different. You had teams like KC and Philly who would situationally play us different, but the gross book that was on us was this. It's because they did not fear us. And so I had a graph I put in my podcast 2 days ago, the AI podcast, and it's a very simple thing. You just go and check what's the blitz rate, what's the pressure rate. And if you see those 2 lines, if the blitz rate is higher than the pressure rate, then that defense is operating inefficiently. If the pressure rate is above the blitz rate, that means it's acting more efficiently. And as that separation between the 2 grows, now you're seeing, depending on how deep that separation becomes, how poor the offensive line is, not only how efficient the defense is. So if you go check the Dolphins, I was going to put the graph up here. I got to get I got Adobe now. I got to put a PDF. But you look at 22, the pressure rate was slightly above the blitz rate. And so the defense that we were facing were slightly more efficient but not terrible. That's kind of in a normal range. But when you get to 23, it separates by a whole deviation. I mean, it's wide and broad. They dropped their blitz rate to like 23%, but the pressure rate was higher than that. And it showed gross efficiency, which ties into the inefficiency of the offensive line. But then in 24, it nosedived even more, and the separation even grew more. And so it's a very easy way, especially now the way to spin that or to amplify it or to add context is the time to throw. So if a team is throwing very long and they're taking deep drops, then you can kind of see that a little bit more. But in 24, our average time to throw went down, but the distance of the throwing went down. We went down to like 6 point something per pass. And so the short throws, the total lack of blitzing, and the quick throwing, all that tied together with the separation of these 2 numbers, the blitz rate and the pressure rate, it's undeniable. It's like saying, sky is pink. And so if you just want to go check these numbers, it's a very easy way. If you want to watch the film, it's a very easy way. And the good news is that this season, if you can, let me fix this stupid thing. The good news is this season, you will be able to tell whether this team's on the right track or not very, very quickly. Week 1, this team will face a defense. They're going to use the same book that they used last year and the year before. Do they run that same book, the one I've described for a couple of years now, through the entire game? And do they win, or is it close? If they do, be nervous. But if they come out with that same book and then they start changing from that book, then you know we're on the right track. And then use that as a data point and go through the first 4 games. And you look at the DCs. After week 1, you check the DC's response in week 2. Do they change the book? Do they stick with the book? How much do they alter the book? And so if you just watch the defenses over the first 4 weeks and the book they use, it will tell you very clearly what they're seeing, how they're reacting, and then it will tell you if what we're doing is legit or not. Because we can win because we're a better team or have some more talent or get lucky. But if the book is still operating on us the same, ultimately that consistency will catch up with us and we'll begin to lose. But if they start altering that book, teams down the road, defensive coordinators will begin altering that book. And once they start altering that book to more normal looks, blitzing, crunching, stepping up, controlling the box, then they're cooked. And so that's how you go about it. That's how I'm going to view it. That's how I've viewed it for a long time. I think it's a very easy way to determine if we're on the right track or not. Anyway, that's it.
I mean, I totally agree with everything that both of you guys just said right now. It's kind of funny because the NFL on Instagram this past, I think, weekend, or they actually put, remember when this happened, when the Dolphins went 70-20 against the Broncos? And it's funny because I go into the comments and everyone's like, well, yeah, look at what happened from there. Both of those teams totally went separate paths. The Broncos, they made the playoffs last year and they got bounced by the Bills. But, I mean, there's, hey, maybe they might be a dark horse this year where, hey, they have a really good defense. They might have found their QB in Bo Nix. But, going back to what Dirk said, hey, we've done the first step, with getting offensive line players, getting defensive line players. We have now a blocking tight end, Pharaoh Brown. We have a big, threat wide receiver with Westbrook. So, I mean, like you always say, Curtis, we have to have football is that the defense has to guess when we need to have them honor that run. And hopefully we get back to what it was in 2020, 2023. Because, like you always say, that time to throw is what? It was
2-3-2.
2-3-2, where or the lowest it's gone down is 209 or 19?
No, 209 in 23 and 204 in 24.
204. And, I mean, it just takes those. Hey, what if we get back to that or even, better? So, I mean.
Oh, then they're cooked. If the defense is all it takes is 2 or 3 plays, and that's really what it was most of the time. They would come up and play man. The guy would, look at the backfield, and Hill would get behind him, and you get a big score. But it's all about leverage. Football is about leverage. It's all about leverage. And so if you're constantly facing negative leverage, it's not going to be successful. It's all about leverage. And if you're not controlling the defensive leverage and they're not guessing, then what chance do you really got? Against bad teams, you could blow them out because you got these crazy skills. But I'm talking about good teams. I'm talking about bad weather and things like that. I like this. It's not a stream until Curtis drops the schizo-fueled football rant. Yeah, I know. I got mental issues.
I kind of want to talk about one more thing with you guys, just because we haven't talked about it on this channel yet. I haven't talked about it, but I get into it, not from players and X's and all kind of things, but we together haven't talked about the schedule, and I kind of think it's always a big deal, just because hey, everyone can get into it, and I just want to kind of say a couple of things. I kind of think that week 1 game against the Colts is maybe kind of a revenge game for our guys, just because Tua didn't play the last game at. I'm pretty sure he sat there when, with his first concussion from last year. And I'm pretty sure, he's going to be pissed off. Hey, man, only 6 points, and these fools put up 13, and you still couldn't beat them. But I just think it's another thing where, the Colts took the tight end, he's Xavier me now, the big one from the draft.
Who the Colts take? Oh,
the guy that we wanted.
Yeah. What's his name? Come on, Dirk. You're the smart guy.
Oh, he's not important because he's a Colt.
Right. I mean, I'm just saying from the point where it's like, hey, well, maybe is that going to something that's going to propel them, or is he going to be big in that game? So to say, I mean, but I think it would be very interesting. Like, hey, if maybe that would be something where it's another Tyler Ward. Yeah, thank you, Hatch. Hey, I think that game is very interesting. That first one, and I didn't realize that our schedule, like at home, is going to be so crazy hard compared to away, where it's, really, really, I mean, not easy, but we don't do a lot of traveling this year, things like that. And I just want to say, I don't know who the hell's arm we had to break to have the Bills come back at 1 o'clock on a Sunday. Yes, it's in week 10, but I can't. Wow,
We
you
don't
guys
even
know
leave our, aside from Spain, we don't even leave their time zone this year. They
Yeah, we have the
stay
least
in-
amount of
Yeah.
like travel.
Yeah.
That Colts game is going to be interesting though, because I think they're going to end up going with Jones over Richardson, and I would prefer Richardson over Jones. I think that could be. I would much prefer. I think Jones could be is better than what he's had such terrible offensive lines. So that'd be very interesting to see how that plays out, because we're in their place and they've got a pretty good front. The defense is not so hot, but it will be that's going to be a very interesting game. I thought with Richardson, I marked it as a win. But with Jones, I'm a little questionable. I got to see how, if he starts or not. But there's a lot of good games. I personally think if you look at it over, there's a big chance that we can get a couple wins early. I mean, Carolina is a game you should win. New York, you should win. Indianapolis, you should win, quote unquote. Patriots, you should win your home, although I think they're going to be tough. And so there's a lot of if McDaniel drops these games, then it's going to be really on him. But you figure Colts week 1, you should win. Patriots, your home, you should win. You're going to lose to the Bills. You should be able to beat the Jets. You're at home. Yeah, you go to the Panthers. They could be better, but he's still a young quarterback. You should win that one. And you come week 6, you come back at Hard Rock against the Chargers. I think that one's going to be tough.
That one's going to be.
But if you have the right coach and you're not screwing up, you should be 4-1 going into that week 6 game. And if anything less than that is a big letdown. So it'll be interesting. What do you think?
That Chargers game is probably 30% of the Dolphins nation are going to be. They're the Tua haters. They're going to 30% of our Dolphins nation is going to be rooting for the Dolphins to lose. I can see that happening. Sad, but I like the schedule.
No, when I say should win, I don't mean should. We should, given our talent, given where we're at. I'm not saying we're going to, but this is the same coach. You look. Let me go back to that. You got a young team with an uncertain quarterback in Indianapolis. Patriots, they got a young quarterback, new coach. You're at home. Jets, they've got basically a quarterback who hasn't found his way with a new head coach at home. Then you're playing the Panthers with a poorish defense, a quarterback who they were ready to ditch last year. He played a couple of games at the end of the season, played pretty well. You're in your 4th year in McDaniel. You still got a bunch of you got Hill and Waddle and maybe Jonnu, Achane. I mean, when I say they should win, they should if this is the right team. I mean, you're looking and seeing teams like Denver, they're in the second year with their coach, and they're winning. If McDaniel's the right guy, he's winning most of those games, and if not, then he's not. Our offense is basically the same except for a few switches in the offensive line, but essentially it's pretty much the same. And these aren't supposedly great teams. And so we should win them given where we're at. I mean, will we win? I don't know, but we'll see. So
Elwood's killing me in the chat.
Well, that's a very good one.
That is a good one. That's a classic right there. That's a classic. So that's what I mean, Sanchez. That is actually a classic. I like that. You win it for a day. All right, so that's it, guys. I guess anybody want to talk about anything else before we blow out of here?
Oh, Liam Eichenberg for the Hall of Fame. That's what I'm saying.
Green of honor.
All right, guys. Thanks for stopping by. I don't know if we're going to do it again next week. We'll see. But we'll be back definitely as soon as training camp comes. Thank you for everybody stop by. Thank you, Sanchez, for the super, super kind offer. Thank you. Deuce Walt for the kind offer. Guys, my email's in the thing. Just, if you want me to do something, check something out, do a study, please send that to me. But everybody else, thank you. Please like and subscribe, and definitely go to Frozen Fin Fan and like and subscribe his channel. All right, guys, I appreciate everything. You're the best. I miss you guys. Be well. Go Fins. Curtis, Dirk, and Abel out.